Hey everyone, Sam McEwin back here again for another edition of the Bizwisdom Show. Today's episode is going to discuss B2B marketing and B2B businesses, and in particular, if you've ever worked in a B2B business and asked the question, how do I win the big clients? How do we get more of the big clients? Then this is the episode for you. But before we get to all that, just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Firstly, thank you for all the support so far. It's certainly a new thing doing a show like this one in quite this format, a little bit rawer than what I normally do, but it's been awesome to get some feedback. A couple of big shout outs that I really wanted to put out there. Thank you firstly to Con Samuelis for all the support. Con is actually my brother-in-law, and I haven't told you this before, Con, but Con's one of these guys who just quietly supports everything I do. I've got a lot of little projects and endeavors, and a lot of little sort of music things, as well as things in the marketing world. And Con just quietly takes note of most of the things I've done, and will just drop a nice little comment here and there just to let me know that he's watched it, and always means a lot to me, Con. But did it again this time, so thank you for that. Also wanted to put a shout out to Chris Hemingway, again, just popping up and a little comment on LinkedIn and saying, hey, this is really cool, keep it up. And probably means more than you think to get a little comment for that. And also wanted to have a shout out to Louise Pop, who's been my leadership coach. It's been a while since we've had a session, actually, my fault, not yours, but and works here one-on-one, coaching and developing our entire team at Bizwisdom, is to provide some external support. And again, a really nice message, just to let me know that you think I'm on the right track, and again, means the world for me. But anyway, with that out of the way, did want to say thank you to all those people who I'm not going to call out everyone who comments from now on, but in this early stage of the show, it really does mean a lot. Every tiny little micro snippet of support. So thank you for that. So topic for today: how to win big B2B clients. So this is crazy, right? Like so what is it? It's Thursday now. So the previous 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week, 3 discussions, 3 potential new Bizwisdom clients, all with a similar version of the same question, working in the B2B space. How do we target and win the big clients that we want to go after? We don't want to be wasting our time with the small fries. How do we get the big clients? So yeah, I mean, like, it was crazy that all 3 landed in this space. I've got some proposals to put together soon. But I thought what I'd do is why it's fresh in my mind and why I'm working through this, share what I believe and what I've always believed is the best strategy for B2B brands to win big clients, or target and win big clients. And it's also a wonderful excuse for me to use a cool little tool here to show fancy banners on the screen. So if you're watching this on video, be amazed and awe at the magic that I have at my fingertips. If you listen on audio, sorry, you're going to miss out. Bad luck. But you can always flick over to YouTube and check it out later. It's not that cool, I promise. Anyway, so number one, if we're talking about this, is how B2B brands grow and the 95/5 rule. So if you're not familiar with this, we here in Australia, if you are here in Australia with me, are very, very lucky to have one of the leading market research institutes in all the world, just on our doorstep in beautiful South Australia, which is the Ehrenberg Bass Institute. If you're not familiar with the Ehrenberg Bass Institute, you may be familiar with their esteemed leader, sometimes known as the Dark Lord of Marketing. Look it up if you want to know, Professor Byron Sharp. So Professor Byron Sharp wrote a wonderful book. Everyone in marketing, branding, or even in charge of a business should read it. It's called How Brands Grow, and it is the absolute Bible on how brands grow. Now, he works with a guy called, a lovely lady called Jenny Romaniak. Jenny wrote the follow-up to How Brands Grow. She might have collaborated with Professor Sharp or somebody else on the sequel to How Brands Grow. Very creatively titled How Brands Grow 2, which was a smaller book, but it focused more on B2B brands. So if you are in B2B, that's probably the one for you, but it is still worth reading the first one first. Anyway, where I'm going with this is she then followed up as part of her work with the B2B Marketing Institute, which is funded and supported by LinkedIn. Followed up with a white paper called How B2B Brands Grow, and in it was a very short document, but an amazing one. It had a number, probably 4 or 5 really key findings, which are the underlying principles for B2B brands, and in particular, how how their audiences buy things, and also how to grow those brands, how to grow B2B brands, right? That's the title. So it's worth checking out. It's a very, very short read. But a couple of those big findings, which are really, really important here, is one of them was this concept of the 95-5 rule. Now, this is not a hard, fast, statistically proven out rule. It's meant to be the shape, but like to give you a general sort of rule of thumb, I guess, to work on. But I think if you've worked in B2B, you'll know that it's very, very close to exactly how things work. And the idea is that your target audience is only in the market for your product approximately 5% of the time. 95% of the time, they are not in the market for your product. They're not searching or seeking to, to change providers or come on board with whatever it is that you are selling, and therefore, only mildly interested. Yeah. But 5% of the time, they come into the category. So a big part of this was talking about category entry points. Where are the points where somebody comes into your category, and during that time, they're in the market for your product, and they're very active buyers, they're active researchers, and they come online. And so where that leads to is this sort of idea that, again, rule of thumb, but on average, B2B businesses turn over their key service providers or key products maybe once every 5 years. So that sort of sets this window that you have to work in if you're in B2B of you've got 5 years to get into the consciousness of your customer, to influence the customer, to set yourself in the mind of your customer, and to position yourself as the leader in whatever area that you specialize in. And this is a good and bad thing. What it means is, certainly there is 5% of the market that's there for your short-term sales. Awesome. But the bulk of the market, isn't going to be buying today, and consumer type promotions might not work, right? Like, you're not going to win them over with 50% off, plus half the time they're spending someone else's money and they don't care, right? So maybe not the truth, but yeah, so really important to understand that. And what that also means, I think the good side of that is, you've got time to let your messaging wash over your target customer, and then set up a campaign that looks for these category entry points, that identifies the category entry points, and create systems so that your target audience, when they are in the market, can put their hand up, make themselves known to you, and then you can pivot very hard to selling to them. So this is really, really key. It's also important to understand that if you've identified your target audience, and we'll get to this in a moment, and your dream clients, the people that you want, they're big clients that you want to take, they might not be ready today. So you need to work on them for for a long period of time. And also, just because you've gone to them today and they're not in the market, or next year, the year after that might be a different case. So, consistently doing things that will influence your target audience over, as a rule of thumb, a 5-year period is going to be a big part of the key. So that's the first thing. Understand the 95-5 rule. That is a very, very quick and dirty overview of that. If you type in LinkedIn, how B2B brands grow into Google, you will find there's actually a short little website. I'll put it in the show notes and everything for the various platforms that this is streaming out to, so you can read it. There's a great little summary. It shows like the 5 or 6 key findings. You don't even need to read the report, which is only like 5 or 6 pages anyway, I think, by memory. But yeah, check it out. It's awesome. Lots of things to do there. The next principle that you need to understand is account-based marketing, or ABM, if you like, a 3-letter acronym. I don't, so I'm going to call it account-based marketing, if you don't mind. So again, lots and lots of literature on this. There's whole books written on this. It became very popular, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. And the idea of account-based marketing is, it's just like regular marketing, only you focus on a single account. So, for example, you decide that you want to win Coca-Cola. That might be very, very hard to do. So you spend time strategizing, working out who the key contacts within Coca-Cola that you need to influence are. You start building out marketing collateral and, a whole marketing campaign, just like you would for mass marketing, but you take this straight to those key people. You use various tactics to influence them, and you make sure that wherever those people are, wherever they go, they see your brand. This can be combined with direct sales outreach. This is definitely one of those concepts of marketing and sales working together to support each other. Probably sales led, so your sales team are identifying the contacts and the client potential customers that you want to target, and then marketing is then working there to support that salesperson in their endeavor to reach them, to get hold of those key stakeholders, and build this marketing around them. So this is cool. This is amazing stuff. For us in an agency, it's not something that we can really support in that pure form of like one account, one marketing campaign. I mean, we can to a certain degree, but how we tend to do things here is actually then sort of just expand that out to going, okay, well, maybe rather than choosing your one, you might choose, your top 1,000 or top 100 or top 500 or something like this. Then again, sort of build these campaigns around these people. And that's a big part of what I'm really sort of advising you today is to build that list of your dream 100 clients, 1,000 clients, and then, use some of these tactics from account-based marketing, use this understanding of how B2B brands grow and the 95-5 rule to have advertising that influences people at the right stage and at the right category for entry points and these things, and sort of use these two theories and the principles from each of these combined to get in front of your right target audience and win them over. So that's really, really cool. So that takes me on to our approach, or the approach that I would recommend. So certainly, if you followed me this far, having an understanding of those two principles is key. And then, as I said, how we would do this is start, number one, by building your list. So build that list, whether it's 100 or 1 or 1,000. Build that list of these key clients that you want to win, your dream clients that you hope to win. So that's number one. Then what we would do, and what we do for our clients in this space, is we build what we call a pre-targeting program. So we've got those lists of people. We can build we find there's the various tools and various ways that we can take those lists of key contacts from within those key prospects or key dream clients, however you want to call them, and we build a marketing campaign, a sort of brand awareness, top of funnel campaign to make sure that every one of those targets that you're about to contact directly through your sales team. So yes, cold outreach is part of this. This is, again, as I mentioned, a case of sales and marketing working together as a revenue operations team, revenue operations outfit, and building this sort of brand campaign so that every single one of those contacts will have come into contact with your brand in one way. They might not be there might not be this huge sort of brand awareness, but there'll be a touch point. Yeah. So what do they say? Between 10 or 15 touch points is required to get a lead. So, we're not going to be all of those touch points, but we're starting to build up some of those first, second degree touch points, and, that they may be somewhat familiar with your brand. So, that's your pre-targeting campaign. Then from there, you want to start doing some cold outreach. So typically, there's 3 ways to do that. That is cold email, cold LinkedIn outreach, and cold calling. Now, I know a whole lot of you just shuddered, and, I'm a marketing guy. I'm supposed to tell you that, no, it's just social media ads, and, all these big clients will just fall in your lap. Sorry, sales is great. And I am not a marketer that I believe that marketing's only purpose is to drive sales into a business. Yeah. So this concept of, marketing over here and sales over here, and never the two shall meet, and sales go, your marketing sucks. It's not, the leads are terrible. And the marketing people go, the sales people don't close the leads properly, and they're not working it hard enough, and they're burning all our leads. Like, that's just nonsense. And, I mentioned the word revenue operations. This is a phrase that's becoming more and more popular. If you don't have sales and marketing, have your revenue operations team, and that is marketing, supporting sales, working together. Now, in B2B, if you are going after those high, big ticket clients, you've got to work together. Like, that's it. So this is it. You're going to have to do your cold outreach. Sales team will have to put some legwork in here. Typically, I like to reach out via LinkedIn and, try to connect, at least view the profile, so they, people get those little notifications that somebody's viewed their profile, and they go, that they might recognize your name. Maybe do a, just a simple little connection outreach or something like that. There are tools that can do this for you and automate this to some degree. So make use of them. Do that. Then follow up with some direct email outreach. Again, tools. There are tools once you've discovered your prospects or your dream clients, and then the key people within that, there are tools that can help you to scrape their email address. And so do that. Reach out via email. There's some great scripts and things that you can use. You probably want to have like a 4 or 5 part email sequence. Then, again, there's some great literature around on what to include in those. Be genuine, lead with your great results, lead with, the things that present you well. Be short, sharp, and to the point, and, be aware that some people will hate this. That's great. Give them an opportunity, give them a way to unsubscribe or to give you that feedback. And the more that you can personalize this to let you know. So again, I guess if you're going after 1 or 100 clients compared to 1,000, then that gives you more opportunity to personalize these things. So there's some great tactics you often see. There's a trend going around at the moment of like people recording a video like this, or like a Loom video or something, with the prospect's website behind their head. So, so it sort of shows, hey, I'm a real person and I'm here to talk to you. This isn't some, bulk outreach thing that I'm doing. So that's really cool. I've seen other things of like, people writing names on coffee cups and saying, hey, I'd love a coffee with you, and then put their name on the coffee cup. Look, a lot of these things are a bit gimmicky, but, what I've found anyway is that, people will respond to cold outreach, surprisingly greater volumes that you might expect, because we've all received it and gone, oh God, this is terrible. Who would respond to this? A lot of people do. And the more that you can personalize that and show them that you're a real person, that it does help if you're in the geographic region of the prospect that you're chasing. So lots of little cues around that you're a real person, that you do actually you have actually taken the time to understand the business, that this isn't just a bulk email to every single business on the face of the earth, that you've chosen this person, this client, because you've got some value that you can add, and you want to do business with them, will go a long way. So that's that for cold outreach, cold email outreach, and then I propose that you would then follow up with a phone call, and the phone call would be someone like, hey, I reached out via LinkedIn, you might have seen my email addresses, wanted to have a chat, and talk about this. So a lot of hard work, and respect the work that salespeople do, and that cold outreach is really important. Now, while that's going on, we've moved from pre-targeting now to retargeting. There should be, again, a big, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on display, YouTube, connected TV, podcast advertising, wherever you can, outdoor, cinema, wherever you can place an ad. Maybe, cinema's not super targeted, so I think it does work a lot better. I mean, this is supposed to be hyper targeted, yeah. So we're making sure that those prospects that you're reaching out to are seeing your ads everywhere, and they're getting there's a diversity in your ad copy here. So this is really key, and we'll talk about this in a moment when I get to sort of mapping out your messaging. But you want some diversity. So, our pre-targeting should be brand. This is who we are. This is what we do, with maybe some, download our ebook, download our white paper kind of top of funnel stuff in there. And then now we're targeting alongside the outreach, and this might be more case studies, testimonials, and all those kinds of things. I'm jumping ahead, so we'll come to all of that. But we're now, we're supporting the sales team and their outreach with more ads. So if somebody sees that email and ignores it, and then goes to Facebook, they see your brand name. And then maybe they see a video, or maybe they see one of your customer testimonials or something, and they go, oh, that's they connect the dots, or there's a subconscious or conscious connection between that email, and then maybe the next email hits, and they're more likely to reply or respond that time. Or even if they, like I said, 95/5 rule, maybe they're not in the market, so they don't want to talk to you. They're never going to reply to your outreach, but they are now aware that you're not just a spray and pray salesperson, that actually your brand is something, and they might that brand name may click in their head. And this is important, because that 95% that are not in the market now might remember you a year, 2 years, 3 years down the track. And this actually happened to me exactly the other way around. And so even when I knew how this worked, there was a brand actually who used almost exactly this strategy on me. I was not interested for like 2-3 years. Not interested. They provided graphic design services, and then we lost a graphic designer. We were in a real pickle. We couldn't hire one fast enough to deliver the work that we needed. We had a whole long list of outstanding work, and I remembered their name. And I was like, oh, bang, category entry point. I'm now in the market for this. I know that they can provide, I've seen all their content. I know that they can actually provide a stopgap solution that will help us get through this period until we can hire another graphic designer. Bang, sign me up. Turned out that their service was insanely good, and we've remained a customer of theirs for the long run. All right. So, that was a really powerful story, and that's what you're trying to go here. That's what that 95/5 rule is about, and so all of this will work together to, hopefully win the customer, but if not, solidify your name, in their mind. The good professor, the Dark Lord, would call that mental availability. So that name can come to mind when it needs to. So that's the cold outreach. Then retargeting, and then you want to tie all of that together with really good tracking and analysis. So the tool that we use for this is HubSpot CRM. There's a million CRMs out there. A lot of them are good. Some of them are crap. HubSpot's amazing. not the cheapest. There are cheaper options. It doesn't really matter that much. But what HubSpot allows us to do is we can track all these leads, and we can see the ones that are engaging. We can see the ones that have activity on your website. We can see the ones that are considering, and then we can build reports for your sales team. This is particularly important if you're going after like thousands rather than 100 or 50 or one. But we can build reports for the sales team to help them to develop, what am I trying to say here? That help them to uncover from all of those leads which ones are actually in the market, which ones are hot to trot, and then follow up with more intimate opportunities and these kinds of things. So that that CRM sending, when we're sending cold outreach, being able to track which of your contacts have actually clicked on a link, and then being able to see which of those contacts have come back 3, 4, 5, 6 times is really key to being able to then understand, and this will come in once you've gone from cold email to then your cold calling, to be able to say, okay, these are the prospects that we should be cold calling, because they might not have made themselves known to us by replying to our email, but they're clicking on our links and they're coming to our website multiple times, so that we can do all these things. So that's a general approach. I've already sort of given half of this away, but finally, to sort of wrap this up, is mapping your messaging. So again, you want the, if you're familiar with the buyer journey funnel, awareness, consideration, and decision. So awareness of a need, consideration of solutions to that need, and decision. There's different messages that work better. The further up the funnel, the colder you are, and the colder you are, the less likely you are to commit to a big, like, I'm going to spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on your amazing B2B solution, right? If they've never heard of you, that's a big jump. So as we're moving through this process, we want to make sure that the right communications pieces are being put in front of that prospect at the right time. So as I mentioned, at the top of funnel, you want brand message. This is who we are. This is why we're great. These are, this is our brand name. Getting them just to see your colors, your logo, and then maybe some of your key value propositions is an awesome start in that pre-targeting phase. Then also at that stage, things like your white papers, your downloads, your these kinds of things are really, really powerful. So it might be industry data. The white paper about how businesses just like yours can solve the problem that businesses like yours have, and of course that's going to be tied in some way to your service, but it doesn't need to be, right? Like, what that allows you to do is to find your right audience. As long as your audience would be interested in that white paper, and no one else outside of your audience would be interested in that white paper, then it's serving its purpose, because it helps to identify those great prospects. So that kind of stuff works well at that top of funnel. Middle of funnel, now you're starting to sort of, they should know who you are now. They've received a couple of your emails. They've had a couple of touch points with you, whether it's your sales team or the marketing. That they should be familiar with your brand name at least. And so now this is where we start to show why you're good. Show other case studies of businesses just like theirs that have used you and had great experiences. Case studies, testimonial videos, and webinars can be really, really good here. Those kinds of things. And then your bottom of funnel, these are your, book a discovery, speak to us today, the hard close, right? Really talking to your sales team. So that's really it. Hopefully that's all made sense. There's quite a lot to digest. I can't believe I've almost hit 30 minutes on this. It was supposed to be a very, very short, quick one. But that's it. It's not easy. It is something that, that the whole flywheel analogy is really important here. It's not something that you can just go, let's splash into this for 2 months and win big clients. Like, that's crazy. Big clients take a lot of winning over. They also, to understand, big clients are pitched to constantly. like all the time, right? Because they're big clients, they're desirable. Everybody wants to talk to them, so they're constantly, having, or they're constantly coming in contact with other businesses just like yours who are pitching them things. So you've got to have a good quality product. You've got to be able to give them the time, or you've got to really set yourself as the leader in their mind, or you're not going to get them. They can speak, they can have anyone they want, right? Often they've got big budgets. They can have the best of the best, and that's all they want to work with is the best of the best. So you've got to have something unique, and you've got to have that time to set yourself in their mind, and that's where using those, those 4 or 5 years when your target prospect isn't in the market for your product, to influence them with why you're great is really, really important. And then once you've won them, guess what? They're still going to be getting pitched to all the time from all your competitors. So, there's probably a whole other episode there about making sure that you're continually, giving them great value, and and bringing new ideas to them depending on your industry, because or your competitors will be. So that's the downside of winning big clients, is you got to work hard to keep them too. So hopefully that's helpful. Please let me know, as I mentioned at the start with the shout out to people at this stage. I'm just so appreciative of any comments. I'd love to hear whether this is good. Have I missed anything? Let me know if you're loving this, if you're hating it, whatever, because I really appreciate the feedback at the moment. This is everywhere, as you know. It is now available to download as a podcast. So if you like the podcast, go and check it out. The links will be in with whatever whatever format you're watching this. There'll be a link to the podcast. That would mean a lot to me at the moment. Even if you're not a podcast person, if you go and subscribe and leave a review, certainly getting that podcast wheel firing would be a lot. But look, ultimately, hopefully this has helped you. If you know someone who works in B2B who you think would benefit from this, please share widely and wildly. And thank you once again for tuning in. I'm off home now because it's 9 o'clock at night and I haven't eaten, and my wife has put our kids to bed without me for the 4th time this week, and is probably hoping that she'll see me at some point. So that's what I'm going to do. You have a great time doing whatever it is that you're doing right now, and I can't wait to see you soon on the next episode of the Bizwisdom Show. Thank you.